Howdy folks, it's the Creepy Kentuckian here with you from DEADPIT.com. Have a brand new review up for you guys today to check out from our good friends over at Imprint Films over in Australia. It's their newest release, and there's been a couple of releases of this particular movie lately, but this is, in my humble opinion, the deluxe release to pick up. It's the one that you want. Limited edition of 1,500 copies. This is some British horror from the late 70s, starring horror icons Mia Farrow and Keir, directed by Richard LaCrane. And this particular limited edition is the Blu-Ray, which is region free, and the soundtrack, which, in my humble opinion, the real star of this movie is the score/soundtrack that's in it. It's insanely creepy, and believe me, folks, I know a thing or two about creepy. It's a wonderful score done by Colin Towns, which, like I said, I think this one is exclusive for that CD soundtrack/score. And the interesting thing about The Haunting of Dullea is this is a movie that up until a couple of days ago, I had never seen. I'd honestly never even really heard of this movie. But today we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about some of the special features and let you guys know, is The Haunting of Dullea something that you'll want to haunt your movie shelf? In the movie, Mia Farrow and Keir play Julia and Magnus Lofting, kind of a young married couple. They have a young daughter named Katie. And the first scene in the movie, Katie passes away tragically, and that puts Julia kind of in a psychosis, if you will. So Julia spends some time in the nervous hospital, and when she's scheduled to go home, she says, "Magnus, I've had it with you. I'm moving out. I'm going out on my own. I want a new life, a new start and everything." And Keir character Magnus is kind of like, what the hell, man? Seriously? Like, you can't take care of yourself. You're mentally ill. There's something bad going on with you, Julia. So Julia, she leaves her husband behind, starts a new life in a new home in London. And things are going pretty good for Julia early on. But as time goes on, she starts having these visions as to what she thinks is Katie, her daughter that tragically died months earlier. But as the movie goes on, it seems to be the spirit of another kid. And there's more than meets the eye in The Haunting of Dullea. Meanwhile, Magnus is trying to convince people that she cannot take care of herself, that she needs psychological help. We're not sure if he has her well-being in mind or not. And lo and behold, they have a damn seance in this movie too. That's one thing. I've watched enough horror movies, folks, that I know that if there's already haunting going on, God damn it, don't do a fucking seance. That's just one thing you just don't do. But they do, and it kind of makes matters even worse, of course. And that leads up to the ultimate culmination is to what happens to Julia at the end, without giving too much of it away. Now, this is a wonderfully made movie, beautifully shot. The transfer on this thing is fantastic. And this is one of those movies that does keep you guessing till the very end of what the hell am I actually watching? What is really going on here? A lot of us know Mia Farrow and Keir was also associated with some other classic horror films, Rosemary's Baby and Black Christmas. Mia Farrow does play a pretty good disturbed woman in this. She's a great actress anyway. Anything that she's in is usually really great, and this is no exception here. In certain scenes of this movie, it's almost like a giallo film, Italian giallo. I don't know if that's what they were going for here with the music and everything, but it definitely has that vibe to it. But it is slow. It's an extremely slow movie. It's very British. Ultimately, there is a pretty cool payoff at the end, but there is a lot of really nothing. I'm trying to create, I guess, a mood in this before, anything actually happens. Now, I can definitely understand why people love this movie. I am not one of them. I didn't fall in love with this particular film here, But I do appreciate what they were going for with this. And again, it was a very well-made movie. Great performances and everything. And an interesting little ghost story. And the British for sure know how to do the ghost stories. But yeah, the 70s, man, especially like the mid to late 70s, was an insane time for horror movies. Stuff like Suspiria, Alien, earlier on The Exorcist, lots of pure classics. And you can definitely see how a movie like The Haunting of Julia would get lost in the shuffle here. It is very cool that imprints and earlier on, I believe, Scream Factory released the 4K of this. But imprint really gives this deluxe treatment. This is a crazy lenticular cover here with a thicker case than they normally do. I think they do have other limited editions that's like this. But this is a beautiful edition, and we'll get into some of the special features and everything on this as well. So again, this is a limited to 1,500 copies edition of The Haunting of Julia in the thicker case. You do have inside the regular Blu-ray, which has a very Criterion looking like artsy cover on it, which I appreciate. And the other aspect to the limited edition is the booklet, which a lot of companies are doing more and more of these booklets with film essays and behind the scenes pictures and posters and everything. This was also known in Britain as Full Circle. There's a couple of different other names for this. There's some poster art from Italy, I believe. They have a special part in here about the soundtrack itself. So, pretty cool little book here with that artwork on it as well. Now, some of the special features included in this edition, you have 2 separate audio commentaries, one with director Richard LaCrane and Simon Fitzjohn. Another audio commentary with authors Jonathan Rigby and Kevin Lyons. Breaking the Circle, an interview with composer Colin Towns. Framing the Circle, an interview with cinematographer Peter Hannon. Joining the Circle, an interview with associate producer Hugh Harlow. Motherhood and Madness, Mia Farrow and the Female Gothic. It's a video essay by film historian Kat Ellinger. Trailer, its newly remastered soundtrack, CD included with this, the new 4K scan of the movie. You have the option of watching it with The Haunting of Julia or the Full Circle title sequence. So that's pretty cool as well. Inside the case, the Blu-ray and I got the Blu-ray and the player, sorry. And the soundtrack CD there. And also included is the Full Circle, which if you grew up in the UK, this is how you knew the movie. The alternate cover art for Full Circle, which is I actually prefer that cover, I believe, than the one that they put on for the US. So anyway, guys, that is The Haunting of Julia. If you're into the British horror tales and stuff from that era, giallo films especially, you'll want to check it out, especially if you've never seen it before. This is an outstanding edition from Imprint Films. This is number 218 of the Imprint Films line. Beautiful edition here. Always love everything that Imprint does, even if it's the worst movie, which this is not. They still do outstanding editions, stuff that you want to add to your collection and everything. So that is it for the review. The Haunting of Julia is out now from Imprint Films. Check it out and check us out. We're over at DEADPIT.com. Give us a thumbs up.
Up your butt.
Like, subscribe. And if you subscribe, here's something else you can do. Once you subscribe, you can click the bell notification, right? And it'll notify you anytime that Dead Pit puts up new shit.
Or don't. I really don't give a if you do.
I want you to. I want you to.
I don't care.
Let's keep our community growing here on YouTube.
I don't like it. I don't want you to do nothing.
Listen, they need to do that, pal.
No, don't you dare touch it.
Thumbs up. Subscribe.
And click that bell.
Hey folks, it's Oak Early Jaws. I might be banned off of YouTube, but that doesn't mean I can't get you some great shirts over at shop.deadpit.com. First, we got Steve Benningfield post goes against our community standards in nudity or sexual activity. We got the deadpit.com shirt. We got Cardboard. We got L Lord. We got Tales from the Dark Side. We got Dead Pit. And we got a Princess Puffin shirt, boss. It doesn't get any fucking better. Brandon, add the accident. Aww. But these shirts just get better and better, boss. You gotta go over to shop.deadpit.com and pick you up some shirts right fucking now. What are you fucking waiting for? Do it. Do it now, because Old Curly Jaw said so.
Thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon. Dead Pit on Patreon.com is the only place to check out a complete archive of the old Dead Pit radio shows all the way back from 2005 on, in addition to the midweek shows and fan commentaries, exclusive podcasts, and much more. Dead Pit on Patreon.com if you're interested. Tiers start at only $1.